Hey, welcome back. My name's Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter, and this is session number 2 of A Mind for Sales. How you doing? Did you find some value in the first one? Hey, all this month, what I'm talking about is A Mind for Sales, the book. You know, it came out just a little over a year ago now, and it's amazing. Every day I get comments and letters back. So, hey, thank you. And what I'm doing this month is each week, each Wednesday at this same time, I'm taking just a little piece of it and kind of peeling back the pages a little more and giving you just a little bit more with which you can sink your teeth into. Now, I admit I'm doing it for a reason. A, because I'm really excited about the book and what it does for people. I want to be able to share that with people. But I also really want to kind of get you encouraged to get into the Sales Hunter University online program. I've put together a very special program. I'll be talking more about it later on, but I really encourage you to take a look at it. But hey, this week, what I'm talking about is time. How do we leverage time, and what would happen to your sales if you had 30% more time in the day? And I'm not saying to work more hours. I'm just saying to be more efficient with your hours. So I'm going to walk you through just a couple quick pieces, couple quick ideas. And it's going to give you a little bit of a flavor and feel for, A, what's in the book, and also, hey, why I think you should really get involved in the Sales Hunter University online program. You know, time is one of the things that we are all challenged with. Let's not kid ourselves. In fact, you know what's interesting is it's so easy for us as salespeople to really become more rain barrel focused than rainmaker centered. What do I mean by that? You know, I talk about this a lot. It's very easy for salespeople to say, well, the phone's ringing. I'm getting business coming in. That's a rain barrel. But I'll tell you what, for you to really achieve and be able to do what you want to do, you've got to be the rain maker. I'm going to stop and ask yourself, are you a rainmaker? And don't sit there and say, well, Mark, I don't have time. My day's full taking care of existing business. You see, here's something I'm going to challenge you with. Look at this. If we have the ability to help someone, it's our obligation to reach out to them. It is sales is about helping to take the customer to a better place, right? So we have an obligation to be rainmaker focused. Yeah. But here's the problem. We just don't have time. We're too busy playing rain barrel. I get that. It happens to me all the time too. I have to be very deliberate. And again, I'm going to share with you some strategies and some ideas here. But really, it starts off this. We are not time challenged. We are blind to our priorities. We are not time challenged. We are blind to our priorities. Stop and ask yourself this question. What percentage of the activities that you do each day really, truly make a difference? You know, we've all heard this 80-20 rule. You know, where 20% of our customers really deliver 80% of our profit. 20% of what we do delivers 80%. And yet, for some reason, we don't apply that same principle to our time. We just do not apply ourselves that. What I want you to do is I want you to focus in, what are your priorities? You build your calendar around your priorities, not around the time. I see too many people, what they do is they basically just allow their work to expand to the amount of time available. Yeah. Don't kid yourself. We all do this. Here's a question I want to ask. I want you to ask yourself. Question right here. Is what I'm doing scalable and sustainable? Think about that for a moment. Is what I'm doing scalable and sustainable? What do I mean by that? Okay. First of all, is the activity I'm doing, is it one that I can replicate and be able to do more of? In other words, is there a way that I can scale it? Let's use a very quick example. I'm choosing to use this platform right now in terms of I'm broadcasting this on YouTube and Facebook and some others. Now, I could be doing this on Clubhouse. I don't know if you've heard of Clubhouse. Clubhouse is this audio, kind of an audio Facebook, but it doesn't record. There's no life after it. It's one and done. It's gone. You see, what I choose to do here is scalable. So you want to stop and ask yourself, when I'm making a sales call, is what I'm preparing for this sales call, is it scalable? Can I use it for others? Can I use it for other opportunities I have? This is why I talk very much about being centered around your ICP, your ideal customer profile, and you stay very targeted on one particular industry. Second piece here is it sustainable? In other words, anybody can do anything for a very short period of time. Yeah, that's easy to do. But the problem is it sustainable? I see too many people, what they do is they put themselves into a treadmill that it's scalable for a very brief time, but it's not sustainable. Oh, I made the President's Club last quarter, but that's only because I did an incredible and exorbitant amount of activity and work and had everything come and fall into my lap, but it wasn't sustainable. You see, the mark of a high quality salesperson is one who is in the President's Club every quarter, every year, not just dropping in and out. So you want to stop and ask yourself, is what I'm doing time-centered or priority-centered? Now, let's start breaking this down, and I'm going to share with you a couple pieces here. And it's going to start off by dealing with Mondays and Fridays. Mondays and Fridays are the bookends to your week. They are the book. And if you get these right, it is amazing. Now, I have a whole chapter in my book, A Mind for Sales, where I talk about just Monday. So I'm not going to drill down deep into it. I'll let you get the book on that. Grab the book on that. And what you can really see is, hey, how am I spending my time? Hey, thanks so much, Joe. Yes, the ICP concept. You know, it's amazing. Just knowing your ICP, it's amazing how much time you can save just by being focused in on your ICP. So thanks for calling that piece out, Joe. Very, very much appreciated. Here's something that I want to challenge you with. How are you setting up your Mondays? Now, I believe that you set your Mondays up Sunday nights. And again, I'll talk about it in the book. But here's what I want you to ask yourself. Am I getting off to a fast start Monday mornings? If I can get off to a fast start Mondays, it's amazing how the momentum takes hold. Think about sporting events. Think about a basketball game you go to, a football game, a baseball game, whatever it might be. If your team gets off to a fast start, it's amazing how success just continues. There's something magical about that. So what I want to do is I want to take Monday mornings and I want to set myself up that I'm going to achieve some easy, quick wins. I'm not going to spend all of my time caught up in a sales meeting. Now, many of you have Monday morning sales meetings. That's fine. Totally get that. But there's still windows of time pre and post around that. And you have to ask yourself, am I absolutely focused on making one or two key calls that are going to get something going? In my book, I talk about the Meat Lover's Pizza. I'm not going to go into it here. I talked a little bit about it last week. But the Meat Lover's Pizza is how I set an easy goal that I know I can achieve. Yeah. Fridays, absolutely key. I ask salespeople that I'm working with, and it's the easiest way that I can tell whether or not they're an average salesperson or a high-performing salesperson, is I ask them, what do they do Friday afternoons? And I ask them to give me proof of that. Because it's easy for people to sit there and say, I'm busy. When I hear an average salesperson say, well, I use Friday afternoons to kind of get caught up on paperwork and take care of this, take care of that, take care of this. The high-performing salesperson is one who's saying, you know what? I'm making critical calls on Friday afternoon because I'm having conversations on a Friday afternoon I can't get any other day. Let me give an example just from my own life, just this past week. Last week was a long week for me. For some reason, it just felt very long. And I came into Friday and I wasn't achieving my goals. And it's very funny, but I had a noon dentist appointment. Yeah, that's a real great time to have a dentist appointment, but it was. I'm sitting in the dentist chair, contemplating. I'm sitting in the dentist chair, and the whole time I'm sitting there saying, what am I going to do to save myself Friday afternoon? And here's where I found, and I went back to doing what I love to do Friday afternoons. I love making calls to people at higher levels. Here's what's very interesting. They're working on Friday afternoons, and many times they have time to have a conversation with you. I set aside Friday afternoons normally. I normally set aside Friday afternoons. And I don't know why I didn't have it on my calendar for last Friday afternoon, but I'm glad I was sitting in the dentist chair because it got me focused back on it. But I set aside Friday afternoons to be making phone calls to senior level people. There's something magical that happens. A, I get a conversation, but B, I always come out of it with next steps. I had probably about 5 phone calls. 2 of them went very, very well. And suddenly the entire history of the week was absolutely fantastic. It was fantastic. It was like, wow, this was a rock star week. And yet really what it was I was just remembering the last part of the week. Now, again, think about that with a sporting event. You go to a baseball game, go to a football game, you go to a basketball game, and it's the last 2 minutes of the game. It's the ninth inning. It's whatever it is. When suddenly, if there's a flurry of activity, that's when you say, wow, this was a great game. And here's what happened. I went into the weekend framing myself up to set up for a big week this week. And you know what? It has. This week has already been an absolutely fantastic week. I'll share with you some strategies as to how I do that. You see, but what I do is I bookend my week by making it absolutely successful. I set a goal, an objective I can accomplish Monday morning, and I set myself target phone calls to make Friday afternoon. Don't spend Friday afternoon just doing paperwork and kind of winding your way down into the weekend. Because what you're losing valuable selling time. Let's jump into something here. Let's jump into 3 things you can do right now. This is where I want to spend the bulk of our time. The 2x4 principle, R or G, and the 10 a.m. rule. Let's first of all take the 2x4 principle. The 2x4 principle does not mean that you go out to your garage and you get a 2x4 and you start beating yourself across the head with a 2x4. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is you take your day and you break it down into 4 2-hour segments. Now, I use 2x4 just because it's a real easy analogy, but you can use whatever frame you want. You can use 1x8. You can use a 3x6. You can do whatever you want. But here's what I like about 2x4. If I break my day down into 4 2-hour segments and I assign each 2-hour segment to have a different objective, what happens is I get down to the end of that 2-hour segment and I now evaluate what was my performance. What was I doing during that time? And what's very interesting is you up your game because you're holding yourself accountable and you're evaluating yourself more often. You're not working any more hours. You're not working any more hours at all, but you're using your time more wisely. I set myself up typically with 4 2-hour segments. And the way these segments work is this. 1 2-hour segment is purely about making sales calls. It's about making business happen. 1 2-hour segment is really kind of closing deals and making sure projects are on track, et cetera, with existing customers. 1 2-hour segment is really just delivering content. For instance, here today, this and a couple other things I'm doing today is part of my 2-hour delivery of content. And then I spend 2 hours just taking care of email and all that other stuff. Now, does every day wind up? No, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. I try to block my calendar like that, and I try to hold myself accountable. But I know because other meetings are on my calendar, et cetera, it isn't always a perfect 2, 2, 2, 2. But what I can do is I can look back on my day, and I can sit here and say, here's the 2-hour segment I did here. Here's the 2-hour segment I did here. And maybe there are days that, okay, I have to spend more time making presentations. So I'm gonna spend 6 hours a day making presentations. But then I look at it over the course of the week. And have I been balanced? You see, what I'm doing here is a very simple concept, and that is evaluating your time. Normally at the end of the day, we always look back and think about how was the day? How'd the day go? How'd the day go, right? What I'm doing now is I'm sitting here saying I'm going to evaluate each 2-hour segment. Now, some of you might be looking at me saying, Mark, that doesn't work in my business. Fine. So what you do is you do this. You go, I'm going to have a 2-hour segment, but I'm going to make sure that I carve out 15 minutes in each hour to take care of emergency stuff that just arose. So basically what I'm doing is I'm setting aside a 2-hour segment, but I know 2 15-minute segments are going to be taking care of other things. And I compartmentalize. I was on a call the other day, and we were talking about CEO traits. We were talking about CEO things. And one of the keys to success that good CEOs have is they have the ability to compartmentalize. and they stay absolutely laser focused on their activity. And I shared with the audience, I share with them, and I'm not at liberty to say the company name, but I was sitting in the CEO's office, CEO of a Fortune 500 company. I'd been invited in. I was working with them on a major project, and we were on a call, an emergency call with the board of directors. This was a very, very intense call, and it was happening late in the afternoon. And I'll never forget, because we're in the middle of that call, and it was blocked for an hour. It was blocked for 1 hour. Right at the top of the hour, the CEO's assistant came in and said, "They're waiting for you in the room outside." And what it was literally at the next hour was he was to be congratulating people, employees in the company that had just celebrated 25 years, 30 years, 35 years, and 40 years with the company. These weren't 5-year people. These weren't one. These were 25, 30. These were people who had given their life to the company. And it was amazing. Within 30 seconds, the CEO ended the call, very intense, and walked out with an absolute beaming smile on his face, shaking the people's hands and totally engaged with them in that moment. And I'm saying, wow, that's a CEO. That is a CEO who is making it happen. You see, the CEO was very, very compartmentalized. The CEO knew it couldn't change the calendar. You got to get it all done. But see, when I'm absolutely focused, so the 2x4 principle allows me to stay absolutely dialed in. Let's go to the next one, R or G. R or G, what the heck does that mean? What your goal is to make sure that there's nothing that you do is spent on anything but an R or a G. R stands for revenue. You see, what you want to make sure you're doing is that you are spending your time creating revenue for your company. If you're not spending time producing, making revenue for your time, something is wrong. Because isn't that your objective? Yeah, your objective. And again, Joe chimes in, yeah, you're right, it is. The 2x4 principle is great. And I don't care whether you use 1x8 or whatever. But here's what it is. It allows me to say, I'm going to have this 2x4, these 4 2-hour blocks, and I'm going to make sure that 6 of them are focused. Because I'm either spending time making prospecting calls, sales calls, I'm making calls working with existing customers, or I'm delivering content. But I mean, 3 of those. So there's 1 2-hour segment. But that's where that segment could be G, goal driven. In other words, what are your goals? In other words, the key is that all of your day, all of your time is spent doing one thing, and that is producing revenue or helping you get closer to achieving your goals. Think about this for a moment. If you could do that over the course of a week, over a month, what would your results be like? Yeah. Your results would be pretty significant. I guarantee it. Now, what does this mean? This means Monday mornings, I got to make sure I'm looking at my goals. I have a goal sheet right here on the side of my desk. I spend a good 5 minutes on that every day. I'm looking at my goals. And we concluded the first quarter, and there was one goal I missed. I missed significantly. And I had to evaluate, what is it I need to do? So I need to double down to say, how do I make sure I achieve that goal? You see, the key is when I have my goals, I'm more rainmaker focused. When I'm just allowing, I missed that goal in the first quarter, no big deal. I'm being more rain barrel. And again, you have to stop and ask yourself, where are you going to achieve maximum revenue? You're going to achieve maximum revenue when you are a rain maker. So I want you to ask yourself, is what I'm doing creating revenue or helping me achieve my goal? 10 a.m. rule. I love this 10 a.m. rule. 10 a.m. rule is simply this. At 10 a.m., I want you to ask yourself this question. What have I done of significance today? What have I done of significance today? What have I done of significance this morning? Because here's the whole thing. If I can ask myself that question and answer it truthfully, that I've achieved something significant, then you know what? Even if the day goes to pot, even if the day falls apart, I will have had a successful day. But here's what I found. If I am successful by 10 a.m., you know what happens? A rising tide lifts all boats. I'm actually more motivated, and it's amazing how much more I do. It is amazing how much more I do. I love this approach. I love the approach of having the 10 a.m. rule. Now, if you're like me, I get up at 4:30 in the morning. So I don't have the 10 a.m. rule. I have the 8 a.m. rule. Now, this morning I was having breakfast with a gentleman at 7 o'clock, which meant in order for me to achieve my 8 a.m. rule, I had to get up even earlier because I had to achieve something significant before I left to go meet this gentleman for breakfast at 7 a.m. And I did. And I came back from that breakfast and I literally could have, day's done. And you know what's interesting is I caught myself because then at 9 o'clock, I had a very good call with a new VP of sales. And again, came out with some great outcomes, some great next steps and so forth. And suddenly I'm looking at my clock and I'm going, it's 10 a.m. And now I've achieved something else that is of significance. And then, oh, by the way, at noon, I got done with another call with one of my staff members. We were working through some things. And I go, wow, you see, what I'm doing here is the 10 a.m. rule is my benchmark for the day. But when I start looking and using and following the 10 a.m. rule, it suddenly becomes the noon rule, the 2 o'clock rule, the 4 o'clock rule. It keeps going. Now, here's something else that's magical about the 10 a.m. rule. It's the first thing in the morning. Go back to what I was talking about in terms of Mondays and Fridays. You see the value of getting Mondays off right. When I get Mondays off right, it is amazing how much more productivity I'm able to get done the entire week. Now, these are really a few very simple concepts. But when you match them up with sustainability and scalability, and you start applying it on the Mondays and the Fridays, suddenly what happens is you're no longer time challenged, but you're now focused on your priorities. These were just a couple of things I wanted to share with you, but here's something I really want to spend just a moment talking about here. University. The Sales Hunter University. Go out to my website, thesaleshunter.com. You're going to see up at the top, University. You can go to learn.thesaleshunter.com too. But anyway, here's the thing. We have got an unbelievable setup that you get to participate in. And there's 3 different levels. So you can pick whatever level you want. But let me walk through weekly sales kickoff. Every Monday morning, members get about a 4 to 7 minute video where I'm dishing on one key piece, one key concept right now in real time. In other words, it's real time. Now, it's not live, but it's made for that week in April 2021. And it's a little piece of motivation, it's a little piece of training, and a little piece of application. A lot of companies are using this for the entire sales team. Second piece is you get the learning vault. We have got a whole learning vault of videos and written files, scripts, and so forth that you get access to. This is like your sales library that you get. Third piece there is you get the monthly group coaching. In fact, at the top of the hour today, I'm going to be going into the monthly group coaching session, and we're going to be talking about what I call the 3 C's. The 3 C's. Every month there's a monthly group coaching session. That's where I take one topic and I drill down on it. We have the FAQ videos. Yeah. We have got a whole library where you type in a question and here's the video. Here's the solution that you want for it. And every month we add more FAQs. As people ask us questions, we create videos, we put them in. And this is what's beautiful because members will sit there and submit to me questions we crank out videos, and it goes into the FAQ video library. Next piece is open office hours twice a month. I have what I call open office hours, and these are 2-hour windows twice a month where you can call in and ask me anything you want. It's my time dedicated to the membership, and that is absolutely huge key. People love it. Next piece, 24/7 discussion board. Yeah, we have a discussion board 24/7. Every couple of days, I post new things out there and other people post stuff. It's really, really slick because it gets great comments. And what I happen to post there are kind of what are my random thoughts. I just had a situation with this client here. Let me post some thoughts out there, and I put that out there on the discussion board. I don't reveal proprietary information, but it sure gets people thinking. And the last piece is masterclasses. Every month we put out a new master. Right now, our masterclass for the month of April is A Mind for Sales. And you can buy the masterclass, which comes with videos and the workbook, for $59. And you can get just masterclass. But what most people do is they buy a subscription. And it allows them to get everything, because every month, next month, we're coming out with prospecting. There'll be a masterclass on just prospecting. We have upcoming masterclasses on prospecting with email, prospecting with telephone, managing follow-up. We have all of these various but every month there's a new masterclass. Every month, the masterclass consists of anywhere between about 4 and 7 videos and about a 15 to 25 page workbook. All of this stuff is in the Sales Hunter University online program. So, hey, jump out to the website, thesaleshunter.com. Take a look at it. Right now, you'll see that kind of the featured thing is A Mind for Sales masterclass. But I really suggest just get the subscription. That way you get access to all of it. So anyway, what I've been talking about here today is really just sharing with you some concepts from the book, A Mind for Sales, because here's the thing. If we have the ability to help someone, it's our obligation. I have the ability to help you. This is why I feel it's my obligation to be reaching out to you, because sales is an absolutely beautiful profession. I love it. No, it's not a profession. It's a lifestyle. That's what I love. And that's one of the reasons I wrote the book, A Mind for Sales. And I want to tell you right now, hey, take advantage. Take advantage of all of these pieces here. And most of all, join me right here next Wednesday, okay? Because I'll be here when I'm going to be talking about social media, social selling. Is it even social? You're going to want to catch that one. Hey, I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Check out the online program. Go to thesaleshunter.com. Great selling.